We are back, and chapter 12 ended with a silly story that was made by the students using three-word sentences, and Mr. Burton was having a really good time with it. So now we start chapter 13, also in Mr. Burton's class, and he has an experiment he'd like to try. Chapter 13 is called Language Lab. As his last class of the day came into Mr. Burton's room, he didn't speak, and of course, neither did the students. The bell rang, and all the kids watched him as he put a stack of lined paper on the front desk of each row. Then he turned to the chalkboard and began to write. Today there will be writing only. Nothing will be turned in, but everyone must write all period long, and everyone must communicate with at least 4 other people. You may not stop writing for more than 15 seconds. As soon as you have paper, begin. In less than 1 minute, every kid had paper, and in less than 2 minutes, the first notes were changing hands. So he's letting them pass notes in class. Todd wrote, "I still think this no talking thing is stupid," and he passed the paper to Kyle. Kyle read the note and wrote, "I sort of like it. It's different. A challenge." And then Todd wrote, "Challenge? What challenge? The teachers already know about it. Like Mr. Burton, he's just messing with us. Thinks it's great we're not talking. I like talking." Kyle read, and he wrote back, "Too bad. Think how hard it is for all the blabby girls. We're going to win this contest. Beat the girls. Beat the girls. Get it? It's a silent cheer like a basketball game. Cool, huh?" Todd wrote back, "Cool? Dude, it's lame. Here's my silent cheer. Kyle's a dork. Kyle's a dork." Kyle read the note, made a face at Todd, and then turned his back on him and started up a chat with Eric. No talking made it very simple to tune someone out. A few seats away, Emily was having a hot argument with Taryn. "I did not say you couldn't come over after school. I just said, what's the point? If we can't talk, that's all." Taryn read the note, shook her head, and wrote, "I know you don't like me as much as you like Kelly, so stop pretending." Emily rolled her eyes and wrote, "Don't be like that." Taryn shrugged and wrote, "Like what?" Emily used block letters and to emphasize, "All sniffy and snoofy and ouchy. I hate that." "See," Taryn wrote, "hate. That's what you said. You hate me." Emily scribbled, "Don't be an idiot. I don't hate you. Come over after school. Really. We'll think of something to do. But we're going to want to talk. I know we will. But we can't." Taryn wrote back, "I'm not coming. You think I'm an idiot." Emily read that, then ripped the paper to pieces. She reached across the aisle and patted Taryn on the arm and smiled her warmest smile, then wrote on a fresh piece of paper, "After school, my house, okay?" Taryn smiled back and nodded. All around the room, kids were having to figure out the new rules of communicating, and for most of them, writing was a lot harder than talking. It was slower, like instant messaging, only less instant and less fun because there was no computer to mess with. There was so much less give and take than there was with talking. The unshushables weren't used to that at all. Dave had just finished a frustrating set of back and forth messages with Bill. Bill couldn't understand how to keep from getting called offsides during a soccer game. Dave had explained it 3 different ways. He'd drawn pictures and diagrams and everything, and Bill still couldn't figure it out. So Dave passed a note to Ed because he was the best junior league player in town. "Bill doesn't get the offsides rule. Help!" Ed read the note, nodded at Bill, bent over his paper, and began writing. Dave looked around for a new partner, and he saw that Lindsay was passing notes with Helena. They seemed to be having a great time, nodding a lot and cracking each other up. Probably gossiping, he thought, about something really stupid. He grabbed a clean sheet of paper and began a note to Lindsay. "What's the difference between you and a toxic waste dump?" But he decided that riddle was too harsh, even for Lindsay, even if it was true. He crumpled the paper and took another sheet, but before he started writing, he got up, walked to a bookcase, and grabbed a dictionary. He flipped the pages and then ran his fingers down a column of words, and there it was. Remember when he said Interjection, used to express doubt or uncertainty to fill a pause when hesitating in speaking. So Lindsay had been right about something, for once. He sat back down and wrote, "Hey, Captain Burgess, how's the war going? Ready to surrender?" Dave nudged Jason, handed him the note, and pointed at Lindsay. Jason nudged Lindsay, held the note out to her, and when she glared at him, Jason shook his head and pointed at Dave. Lindsay made a face and then took the paper, holding it between her thumb and forefinger like it was a squashed toad. She read the message, wrote a little, and nudged Jason, who passed the paper back to Dave. Her reply was, "It's General Burgess. Check the score, Dimbo. Girls rule, boys are losers. As usual. You're gonna totally get schooled." Jason handed the paper back to Dave. He read her message, made a snarly face at her, and then wrote, "Don't count on it. Always the big talker." And sitting there, frowning at the paper, once again Dave felt this overpowering wish that he could show Lindsay who was the boss, settle the question once and for all, really put her in her place. And in answer to his wish, an idea popped into his head. An idea he probably should have ignored, but he didn't. And that's where we're going to stop in the middle of the chapter. What do you think his idea is? Uh-oh. Is he going to get into more trouble with this?